Alright, so I was going to make a video on me making a 35 minutes Obby game, but for some reason OBS wanted to corrupt the save file, so I cannot access the file that I spent 35 minutes making. Because of that, I'm going to start a new series called Making Games. This is going to tie in with my game challenges. After every game I make, I'm going to go through the process that I did to make the game, right? And hopefully help you younger developers who have no idea what to do or where to start, because trust me, it'd be like that sometimes. So, normally when you start a game, I, you know, usually start with the main framework. In this case, I started with the props that I'm going to be using to generate, right? I made, where's it at? I made this one first because it was the easiest. Then I made this one. Then I made this one because it was third easiest. Then I made this. Now, it really depends on what you want to do. You could start with framework first, but I recommend doing this first because it's just easier, especially for an obby game. But, and then I obviously had to do the spawn, right? And then that's what happened. Now, if we notice in each of these parts, I have, if for what I'm doing, the infinite generation thing for the obby, I used a front node and back node for all of the obbies, for all the parts that I'm putting in. The back node is where it connects to the front node. So for instance, if I was going to spawn something, the front node would be where this back node is, so it would look like this, right? So, and then so on. This would be the front node of this would be connected to this front node right there, and so on. It's just so it's easy to do, and I don't have to get exact C frames, and you know, good stuff. And that gives me with, let me show you. Oops, that gives me this right here. I freaking broke it. Give me a second. There we go. I broke it because the welds broke when I moved it. So that gives me this. If you notice, we have a front node here. Well, this is a back node because the back node is connecting to this front node here. If you look closely, you can see there's a front node right here that's connecting to this back node. And it's like that for all of them. If you look here, there's a front node here. That's, oh my gosh. The front node right here is connecting to their back, this part's back node, and so on. Now, the actual scripting part behind this is actually really simple. You just have to, where's it at? It's literally right here. I just made a module, a class actually. I use a meta table. Uh, I'm just creating a new class or new object called genClass.new. This is creating the new generation object. I get the local self by setting the meta table, and I give the last part, which the last part placed was the spawn because that's the first item, and that was the last item I placed. But that doesn't, it's not relevant. It's just what you need to know is this is the last part that's going to start on, if that makes sense. Like this is the part that's going to start. Then we did self can spawn is true. If something happens, like I want to stop the game, I could just set this to false and everything would be okay. I'm just actually going to return .new so I don't have to do the function in the script, so I can actually do it outside of whatever. So I'm just going to do gen class instead. It'll be the same thing. If you look, I just changed some code. Uh, Now, this is the spawn. What I'm doing here is I'm checking if it can spawn. If it can spawn, then we're going to go ahead and run this. So we're going to get a choice from the table. The table is one of these. It's going to get a random item. Um, then we have a clone here. Right, we're cloning it from the choice in the table, which is assets. We're getting the children, which is a table. We're getting the position that it chose, which is one of these. Um, And then we're cloning it to workspace. We're cloning the back node C-frame, like I said, to the last part's C-frame. So in this case, if we notice, the spawn doesn't have a back node, it only has a front node. That is because I'm cloning it to the primary part C-frame of all the objects, and all the objects' primary part is front node, because that is where it connects, and that's how it spawns other parts. And then we're setting the newly spawned clone, or the newly spawned uh, obstacle is set to the last part, and then it just does that forever. So, like, if we spawn this turn would be the last part, and it would spawn in it would spawn in right here where spawn is, and turn would be placed where this front node is. Once the front node is placed, and it'll set the C frame and connect everything. Once that is done, it'll set turn to the last part instead of this. And whatever that means is if it'll connect this one to turn and it'll set this, then it'll connect this jumps to the front node of this, and so on. And that's how we get this right here. Well, that's a new one. I haven't seen that before. Let me. So, wait, why is it doing that? Wasn't doing that 30 seconds ago. Front node, back. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna shorten this a little. Now bear in mind I did this in 35 minutes, so there are bugs I didn't really have time to thoroughly debug. I mean, I don't know who would have time to debug a game in 30 minutes. Oh my gosh. But it runs. You can actually beat the Obby. I'm probably going to add checkpoints. If you guys want me to make another one, I'm probably going to make checkpoints. Like, if I want to do an hour Obby game, I'll actually have time to do stuff that'll benefit the game. But in 35 minutes, it's literally not enough time. I barely had enough time to get all the parts in. But now if we look and we run it, there. It's doing all the stuff, it's connecting the nodes, doing all the turns, good stuff like that. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much how that works. I'm gonna change this so it actually goes up because it's actually interfering with parts. The front node is here, so I need to move that up a little. So it's really simple actually once you understand the basic concept. It's like a Unity terrain generation. If you'd messed with that, I mean, well, normally in Unity you would use sound, like a sound algorithm that would you feed it in just a noise, white noise or whatever, and it would pull out key chunks and it would generate terrain. That's what Minecraft does. But I'm talking about like Infinity Runner games on Unity. They use basic terrain generation like this. They do a little math. I'm not doing any math. I'm just setting the C frame, which is causing some problems. But yeah, it gets the job done. So and then it's pretty simple, you know, just tenor train generation. And if we look in the script here, It's just a for loop getting the class, and I'm calling the function and spawning the parts for the 100. I could change this to 10, and it would do it 10 times. Or I could do it to a million, and it would crash my game. Oh god, it's gonna crash Studio. Yeah, look at that. I called it. Easy. Yeah, okay. Script timeout. Oh my gosh, the lag. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So then we can see we have a bunch of stuff here, because the obby goes on forever. Uh, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. If you have any questions, just DM me on Discord. Now, I will make sure that I do not corrupt the video next time because, well, you guys probably. I didn't steal this script, trust me. I made this from scratch. Uh, so, I'm sorry I don't have the proof. If you don't believe me, that's your problem. I don't really care about your opinion. But I apologize again for not being able to get the actual video of me making it in 35 minutes. But next time I'll make sure to record that or make sure it's not corrupted. Alright, see ya.